Thinking too much is often treated like a flaw. People tell you to relax, to stop analyzing, to just let it go. But psychology shows that thinking too much is not always a problem. In many cases, it's a sign of a very specific mental trait, one that's misunderstood, mislabeled, and often suppressed. Thinking too much doesn't come from weakness. It comes from cognitive depth. Some minds are designed to process information thoroughly, not quickly. They don't skim reality. They examine it. If you think too much, your mind isn't stuck. It's working. Psychology explains this trait as high-level cognitive engagement. Your brain naturally evaluates situations from multiple angles. It anticipates consequences. It searches for coherence. While others accept incomplete explanations, your mind keeps asking, what does this actually mean? That question never shuts off. One major sign of this mental trait is difficulty accepting uncertainty. Psychology shows that some minds experience unresolved information as tension. If something doesn't make sense, the brain stays active. You replay conversations not because you're insecure, but because something didn't align. You revisit decisions not because you regret them, but because your mind is checking for accuracy. Thinking too much is often the brain's way of closing open loops. Another reason thinking too much appears is heightened responsibility awareness. You take outcomes seriously. Psychology shows that people who feel responsible for impact tend to think more deeply about choices. You don't want to miss details. You don't want to cause harm. You don't want to make careless mistakes. So your brain reviews everything. Thinking becomes a form of internal quality control. Another key part of this mental trait is internal processing. You don't process emotions outwardly. You don't vent constantly. You don't distract yourself easily, so your thoughts stay inside. Psychology shows that internal processors think more because thought is their primary regulation tool. You think to understand, you think to stabilize, you think to integrate experience. That looks like overthinking from the outside, but internally it feels like unfinished work. Another sign of this trait is pattern sensitivity. Your brain naturally connects dots. Psychology shows that pattern-oriented minds struggle to disengage because they're always searching for consistency. When something doesn't fit the pattern, your mind won't let it rest. Not because you're anxious, but because unresolved patterns create mental friction. Thinking too much is often your brain saying, there's missing information. Another reason this trait develops is early conditioning. Many people who think too much learned early that awareness prevents negative outcomes. They had to read situations carefully, anticipate reactions, understand consequences. Psychology shows that when thinking deeply leads to safety or control, the brain reinforces it. Over time, deep thinking becomes automatic. Another overlooked sign of this mental trait is emotional neutrality during thinking. Many overthinkers aren't panicked. They're calm, heart rate steady, breathing normal, body relaxed. Psychology shows that anxiety activates the nervous system. Deep thinking activates the cognitive system. They are not the same. You can think intensely without fear. Another part of this trait is high self-awareness. You notice your own thoughts. You analyze your reactions. You reflect on meaning. Psychology shows that self-aware minds naturally think more because awareness feeds reflection. You don't just live experiences, you interpret them. This mental trait also explains why telling yourself to stop thinking never works. You can't shut down a system that believes it's protecting you. The goal isn't to eliminate thinking, it's to complete it. When thinking leads to clarity, it naturally slows down. When it's blocked, rushed, or ignored, it loops. So if you think too much, understand this. You don't have a broken mind. You have a depth-oriented mind. You're not mentally weak, you're mentally active. And thinking too much isn't the problem. Unresolved thinking is. Once your mind feels understood, informed, and complete, even the deepest thinker learns how to rest. If you want more psychology videos that explain why your mind works differently instead of trying to silence it, subscribe now. Phase 2 is about understanding mental traits, not pathologizing them,